Perfect. So perfect. So, Tareen, what are the ages of your kiddos or kid? I would love to know. Please tell me in the chat. So this chat, what we're talking about, it's toilet learning, setting the stage for success before age 2. So often my name is Carol Segal. I am the founder of the Bambini Method. And I help families one-to-one, and basically they're coming to me after the fact, after they started. They've tried everything, they've been doing it, they've been at it for months. So often people coming to me, the child's resisting sit down, they're just not voiding, they're still going, as soon as their diaper goes on, that's when they go. They're withholding. There's so many different things that come up when you start the whole toilet training process. So today I really want to talk about how can you set yourself up for success before you even go through the process. My background is I've been teaching toddlers for over 20 plus years in a Montessori school setting. So all my information is science-based experience. I've literally was in a thick and thin of it for 20 plus years, doing it myself, educating the parents, doing it at school. Personally, I've had a classroom of children ages 15 months to 24 months, and I was 100% successful in getting the children transitioned from diapers to underwear before they turn 2. So this is really going to be talking about like all the things to do and how to prepare yourself for it. So perfect. And Tareen, we have 20 months. Awesome. Oh, I love the fact you're almost independent in toileting. So that's great. So I want to dive in. Let's go ahead. All right. So my objective is to talk about, how do we transition from diapers to underpants in a smooth, natural process where it's a child-led process and we're fostering the child's independence and giving them the confidence and autonomy that they need. So I kind of want to go from there. And then also I have a mission. My mission is supporting parents and creating a positive child-led toilet learning experience by following a child's development and empowering prepared adults to guide with patience, trust, and respect. Okay. All right, so here are the 14 principles of the Bambini Method. I will go ahead and have you guys review them. I lost my chat, so I want to make sure I'm able to get that back. I don't know if I can. Oh, yes. Okay. All right, perfect. So module 1, understanding the basics of the basics. Okay. All right, here are some fun facts. So the average potty trained in the early 1940s and 50s. So basically, more or less, that's when diapers were kind of started. So before diapers even started, right around when they started, children were potty trained by right around 18 months. But now, because of the technology that we have today with diapers and pull-ups, most children are toilet trained between around 37 months. And I could definitely say that's what's happening because that's right around the same age where everybody's coming to me and needing support and having help. So, and also I just want to let you guys know, I'm going to be talking both like diapers and pull-ups. To me, diapers and pull-ups are exactly the same thing, except the tabs are different. Yes, pull-ups may not have the technology, may not hold as much as a diaper could, but it still holds everything. It's a diaper, just a more high-end diaper. And I do personally prefer at a certain point starting transitioning from diapers to pull-ups, even though they're the same thing, because my whole goal of all this is, what would we do with our children, or what routine, or how would we do everything if your child was in underwear, right? So we need to prepare them for underwear. So part of the way of preparing them for underwear and getting them used to putting their legs through and sitting down and holding it is having a pull up to allow that independence for them to do things on their own. So that's our whole goal. How can we create an independence, and for the child to eventually take ownership of the process? Okay. All right. So there's 3 common C's that I often like to talk about, which are commitment. You need to dedicate time and energy towards it. Consistency is key to everything, not just toileting, but in parenting alone. And children will catch you when you're not consistent. And then gaining confidence. You want to trust your child's ability to learn this new skill. And at the same time, my goal here for today is for you to have the tools and skills for you to gain confidence on this topic as well. All right. So often I'm often asked, what are the readiness signs? So in Montessori, there is a term called sensitive period. A sensitive period is a period where something comes very easily, very naturally. The child's very eager and willing to learn. Um, and so, as I mentioned, I did test the sensitive period on my own when I did have a classroom full of 15 months to 24-month-olds. The parents did truly think I was crazy when I told them that I was going to get their child toilet trained before 2. And again, I followed everything that I'm telling you today, and I know it works, and I've done it hundreds of times after that. Um, I could honestly say that, um, we follow the child. If the child did not transition before 2, we just kind of continued the process, but eventually did. And I can honestly say I've been at 100% successful in getting every single child transition to underwear before the age of 3. In the school I worked at, we were not able to move a child to the next age level unless they were independently toilet trained, wearing underwear and wiping on their own. Of course, we had some stragglers, and we definitely worked through those developmentally, but I definitely know that all this works. So some common signs are, and there's so many more than this. There's some emotional signs, physical signs, but I just wanted to list a few here. And if your child is a little bit older, you might have noticed this and you might like, oh, my child did do that and I just didn't recognize it. Or you might have just not been ready, which is okay. So that's what this presentation is for. Recognize that when your child's kind of following you into the bathroom, or maybe they're like starting walking into the bathroom, maybe they're staying dry for longer periods of time in between changes. They may be communicating the need to be changed just by like touching it or tugging on their diaper. And if they're able to speak, they may just kind of tell you. And it's also important that for your child to be able to follow simple instructions like it's time to go, or, let's go to the bathroom, things like that. And then this is a very common one. Often they're seeking privacy, and they'll go and hide. Often they go hide when they go poop. Sometimes they go underneath the table. You'll see the little common signs. One thing that I also want to talk about here is um, some children, are not able to speak, or they're developmentally delayed in their speech, or they're just really young. For example, the earliest I personally transitioned a child from diapers to underwear, again, was around 14 months. The child was not speaking, and the child did not necessarily know how to pull up and pull down, did not have the fine motor skills to do it. But one thing that we did do was use the toileting sign language. So you take your hand like this and you put it in between your fingers. And so you have this thumb and you go like this. And so when you're asking or saying like time to go, use a toilet or whatever you verbiage you use, you could say, you could do this. And this is something that they could probably easily do and say and communicate, especially if they're not able to speak. So that's a fun fact too. Okay. All right, my slide's not going. There it is. All right. The next thing that's really important is we need to prepare you, the adult, for all the next steps and everything that's going to be. I mean, I have another slide that's going to talk a little bit more in detail, but I really want to make sure that you guys understand that this is a big step for your child. When your child is toilet trained, they gain so much independence and so much confidence and awareness. So that's a big bonus for your child and for you. And so it's important to recognize that the act is selfless and to have patience around the process as well. It's not today, our conversation is not like a quick fix. This is going to happen in one day or in a weekend. It's not like that. I'm simply just going through how to set up your environment. What are some things you could do? Your child is going to show you when they are ready. And so that's what we're talking about here today. And so it's important for you to be physically, mentally, emotionally prepared for what's ahead of you as well. And then again, I like to always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. All right. So how do we prepare the environment? All right. So it's really important for you guys to be set up for success. So at a really young age, I highly recommend starting off with a potty chair versus a toilet. I like to use the real language and the real words. So I call the potty chair a potty and I call the toilet. If your child is older or bigger and they're sitting on the toilet, you want to make sure you have a stool. You really want to make sure that their feet are stable. So that's why at the young age, I really like to start with the potty for a couple of reasons. You want their feet to be stable, and that gives them security. The other reason why I like to use the potty to begin is you want your child to be able to see that they went. Plus, you want to see if they've gone. Often, if you're sitting on a toilet, the coloring's not bright, or they've gone so little that you may not even recognize or notice that they have gone. But if you could see even the littlest of droplets if they've gone in the potty. So that's really helpful. There's also some really fun things that you could add inside the potty chair. There's like little stickers that you could buy that are dark and black. And then when it gets wet, it changes color. It has an image on it. And so that's really exciting for them to see. Some other fun things that you could do is, you could have food coloring. You could have things like that to kind of help entice them and make it fun process. So another thing that you want to have in the bathroom, especially since here we're talking about, your child's probably still in diapers. You want to have a place for your dirty diapers to go. So some kind of basket or some kind of garbage can or something that they could put the dirty diaper in. At the same time, if your child is while you change your child's diaper, because at this point, you want to change every single your child's diaper in the bathroom. If your child, for example, if your child's at 9 months old, usually right around 9 months old is when they're sitting comfortably on their own. So even at 9 months, when they're sitting comfortably on their own, that's when, while you're changing your child's diaper, that's when you could start introducing the potty chair and just have them sit down and recognize it and do it. Ideally, if your child's standing and or walking, this is a great time. You could start walking them into the bathroom and doing all the diaper changes in the bathroom. So if your child's walking, you don't need the changing table anymore. You don't need to be doing it on the floor anymore. You want to be consistent and you want to have every diaper change happening inside the bathroom. So your child poops, right? So you want to take your child's poop from the diaper and you want to toss it inside the toilet. You want to show them that's where it goes. Okay. And then you could, tie it up and put it in the garbage or whatever you do with it, right? Um, often I get told that at young ages, if they're, especially if they're not eating solids yet, that their poops are not solid, their poops, are not able to be transferred into the toilet. So do your best, and definitely, um, then do, wrap it up and throw it away, whatever you can. The other thing I like to have in the bathroom is, I like to have a toileting, I call it a toileting toolbox. In that toolbox, you could have a lot of different things. On my next slide, I'll go into more detail of what you want inside. Um, so, so here's what we want inside the toolbox. This little picture is not exactly what we want, but just we need something for visual purposes. So I like to say you want a couple of books in the bathroom. You want to have your child pick those books, right? You want them to be engaged and enticed and wanting to go. You can have a couple of fidget toys, something small, nothing huge. Something, I like to say maybe like a like a little squishy ball, like those stress balls, or like those like little fidget toys, like the little bubbles. You could do like a little, um, like a timer, like they have those water timers that change the little colors. That's really fun for them to watch. Um, and plus you could time how long they've been on there a little bit. Um, since your child's still in diapers or pull-ups, you want to have a couple of those in there because you don't want to have to be able to go anywhere. So if you need clothing, if they, if they get dirty or anything, have some things available for you and they're ready for you in the bathroom. And then, so yeah, so the whole purpose is to have everything that you need. Um, and then I have some ideas for items to support pooping. Um, Here I've listed a pinwheel or straw. I'll go into a little bit more detail about that in a little bit. But those are some good things to have in your basket. Some people have really small bathrooms. They don't have room for a basket, but they have drawers. So you could use a drawer, but you just really want to make it easy and accessible for you. Ah, okay. All right. Next, I want to talk about establishing a strong routine. So I want you to think mentally in your head. If my child was in underwear, when would I be ideally taking them to the bathroom? Right? So here are some examples. I First thing when you wake up, for me, that's non-negotiable. As soon as they wake up, you get them out of the crib or the bed. You want to take them into the bathroom and get their soiled diapers off right away, have them sit down. At this point too, throughout this whole process, we just want to also just start establishing a strong routine and like the foundation of doing this. There at this point, there, especially in the very beginning, there is no expectation for them to be voiding into the bathroom. Because I get asked that a lot. The expectation is low. We just really want to start creating a strong foundation. And the reason why I like to establish a strong routine, because children have such a strong sense of order at this age, and they really strive on strong routines, and they really know, they want to know what's next. So kind of if you're consistent with all this, they'll know as soon as you wake up that you're gonna go, before nap time and after nap time, they're gonna go. I highly suggest after meal times, about 20-30 minutes, because usually they had a lot to drink or whatnot. But and you could test it out. You'll kind of know, and you may probably even know now how often or when your child goes after mealtime. I also like to say, try to take them before you get really involved or really engrossed in any kind of play time, because it's so often, I'm told like, oh, my child doesn't want to stop what they're doing. They're showing me that they need to go, but they don't want to stop what they're doing. So to avoid that, it's just first we have a bathroom break, then we could play with our Legos, right? I like to use that language, first this, then that, a lot. And then of course, for bedtime, you want to definitely go before bedtime. We're not going to talk about nighttime training or anything like that here, but to help start getting ready for nighttime and having them have success to be dry at night, we ideally we wanted to stop liquids 2 hours before bedtime. So usually for most kids, that means dinner time. So, I like to say you could drink as much water as you want. But after dinner, no more water. And it's difficult because it takes time to break habits, right? So often parents are still providing water or have water next to the child's bed. So when I'm working with families, we do work on, making these changes slowly. But we do make those changes because we want them to be successful. We can't expect the child to be successful and be dry at night if they just drink a whole cup of water. As they age, it changes. They're able to hold it longer and things like that. But at a young age, they can do it. And often I do get asked about nighttime. Again, this talk isn't about nighttime training. If you do want to talk about it with me, you can, and ask questions about it at a different time. But ideally, children can be trained, but it can be something that can be talked about later or done later. All right, so here we're talking about the role of the adult. So when we are communicating our body parts, I would like to use the appropriate language. I like to say, this is your penis, this is your vagina. You want to physically name what it is so they know what it's actually called. And you need to keep your attitude staying positive. Because if the way you're speaking, your tone, and if you have anxiety around all this, your child's going to have anxiety around this. They pick up on your energy so well. You guys are so interconnected. We also want to remain calm and in control of our emotions. So, for example, if a child is it has an accident or something like that, we don't want to shame them. It's just like, oh, I see that you're wet. Let's go clean it up. Just staying positive. I like to keep it short to the point. And then also when inviting your child, you don't want to ask questions. You want to be very direct. And I'll go into that a little bit more later. And you want to make this a normal part of your day-to-day routine in your life, right? So this is just and that's why I like to call it toilet learning versus toilet training, because this is just a new thing. This is just how we start and do things. And the younger you start, it's just they're open to it, they accept it. Once your child turns 2 years old, so often you hear, no, 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 me. And so it can be harder. And you need to entice them more to sometimes do anything that you may want them to be doing. But if you just slowly create this change and make it a big part of what you already do and part of your routine, it's not a change for them. Your child's going to show you when they're ready. And then of course, that big word, consistency. And then for me, one of my big rules are once you transition to underwear, there is no more going back to diapers. For example, so often I'm working with families and families are like, well, we have a really long drive, or, they're driving to school. So often children in underwear, and they got dropped off and they were dropped off in pull-ups. And you should be able to go before you leave the house, at least attempt to go. They should be able to stay dry for long periods of time at this point. But basically, you don't want to confuse them, right? So basically what you're saying to your child is, I don't trust you. I don't trust that you're not going to go while shopping. I don't trust that you're not going to go just in the short car ride, right? There's lots of things that we could do to help protect the car seat. There's lots of things we could do to help protect lots of different things. But the last thing you want to do is go back to putting a pull-up, because they sometimes don't understand the difference or the feeling, and they don't remember or make that connection that they have something on, and that what they have on is a pull-up versus underwear, right? So that's important. Okay. Also, if there's any questions too, please go ahead and put those questions in the chat too. All right. So here is the fun part. How do we invite your child to the bathroom? For me, when I'm working with my families, I often like to say, so often I hear, because I always ask parents when they're coming to me, I'm like, so tell me, what do you say? How do you invite them? And almost always it's, do you need to go potty? And whenever you ask a question, almost always your child's going to say no. And you want to respect that, right? If they're saying no, you want to respect that they're saying no, just as if you're saying no, you want them to respect you and saying no, right? So you want to phrase it in a way that it's a command in a way. I see you need to go to the bathroom. Would you like to walk by yourself, or would you like to hold my hand? Or it's like, it's time to go. Would you like to act like a cat or act like a dog? Would you like to skip, or would you like to hop? So by giving them those choices of how to get to the bathroom, that is helping build autonomy. That's helping giving them a choice. The choice is not whether or not they're going, it's how to get there. Okay. And so then once you get to the bathroom, I do have some sequence pages. I'm happy to share those sequence pages with you. So if you share your email addresses with me, I could, or email me, and I can happy to send all those materials for you. But on the sequence pages, so for example, you're in the bathroom, you want to remove your clothing, remove the pull-up diaper, sit down, hoping that they void. But if they don't void, it's not a big deal, right? And then you wipe. When it comes to wiping, at first you want to do it for your child, but you also want to introduce wiping and show them how they wipe and things like that. At the same time too, you're in the bathroom. You don't have a changing table anymore, so they're not laying down. So you want to start wiping and change them while they're standing up. So often I always tell the child, touch your toes or touch the floor, and basically their bottom is in your face. It's not it's easy to see what's going on there. And then you could wipe, you could see easily, and then they stand up and they wipe, and then you could wipe again if you need to. Eventually, as they start perfecting the wiping, they could wipe first, and then you wipe, and then eventually they're wiping on their own. Okay. And then obviously get dressed, blush. I always like to say, wave goodbye, and then wash your hands. So that's basically fun. And then while, again, during this stage too, is children often want to get up right away, or they don't want to sit down. And so the toolbox is there to help you, like offer the books. You read a book, ask to sing a song. What song would you like to sing? Count to 20, or start counting, and meet them where they're at. If they're just there for 2 seconds, 1, 2, then next time you go in, okay, we made it to 2. Next time, let's make it to 5 seconds, and then keep on trying to make it longer. So how long is it too long for a child to sit on the potty? That's a great question. I like to say no more than 5-7 minutes. If they haven't gone during that time frame, that's when you could say it's time to get up. Okay. So yeah, and and especially if you know that your child needs to go because they're showing on the signs they're just not going, you could just say, okay, we'll set a timer and we could try again in 2 minutes or whatever, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You decide on however long that time is. But often and the reason why I say set a timer, it works for most families. It doesn't always work for all. Some children just simply don't like timers. But I find that, now with today's technology, you ask Alexa or you ask Google or whatever, set the timer. One, the kids enjoy doing that, and two, it's the timer telling them that they need to go versus you telling them that they need to go. So that helps. Okay. All right. Handling mishaps. I like to call accidents mishaps. Again, just trying to stay neutral and positive. So I kind of touched on this, but I really want to make sure I'm clear on this. So often what I like to do, and mishaps could only happen when you're in that transition. You know, a mishap is because so often parents are like, well, my child's sitting in the toilet, and then 5 minutes later they go and they're having an accident in their pull-up. Well, that's not an accident. They're trained to do that. Um, so um, so this is like mishaps are happening when you're in that transition process and transitioning from the diapers to underwear, you're in underwear. Sometimes, depending on the family, I don't suggest this for all families. There, you can have some period of time having your child go naked. And so then that helps kind of desensitize that feeling of having anything on them. So, you know, obviously I highly recommend putting a shirt, sweater, whatever, some kind of clothing. If you can maybe wear a dress. But you want some kind, you want them to have a bare bottom. And then so often they're able to stay drier for longer periods, but they do have mishaps. And then it's, for me, mishaps are a good thing. You want them to feel the feeling of it going down their leg. You want them to feel the feeling of feeling wet, but you don't want them to stay in the wet soil clothes either. So if they do have an accident of pee on the floor, I like to set up a basket of towels, and I like to use real towels. The reason why I don't like to use paper towels is because when you are in that training process, you want them to clean it up, have that soil towel, take the soil towel and their soil clothes, put it in a place that's just for them. You could have a hamper, you could have like a little basket, like a little trash can with a lid on it. And usually you could take those out, and you want them like at the end of the day to take their soiled things and bring it to the laundry, and help you do the laundry. So, and then you could talk about, oh, it's really heavy today, or it's really light, you know, you did great today, or there's nothing in there, you know, and things like that. The other thing that I just remembered, and I want to make sure I don't forget to tell you guys this. When your child does void and go in the potty, we do not reward them. We do not do this big, huge, loud song and dance and say, okay, you win a car. You want to just be extremely like natural. It's because it's what we want them to do. We don't want to show them that we're so happy and excited. But you want them to feel the reward. You want that intrinsic reward. So I often like to say, oh, look, you peed. Aren't you proud of yourself? And churn the reward on them. They did it. You didn't do it. Because so often, and so that's why I don't really believe in like giving any kind of like M&Ms, any kind of treat or any kind of food or toys or anything, because this is just a natural process. It's going to be, it's not going to happen in a day. So often when families do use rewards, and that's the number one thing that parents are coming to me for, like, we've tried this and this rewards and this, and they have the reward in the bathroom, they could see it. It just doesn't work. It truly, in the 20 plus years I've been doing this, it can work for a short period of time, but it's not a long-term solution. And again, do you get a reward when you go? I don't. So, um, so yeah, so we really want to make sure that we are not, that we're just very natural, just, matter of fact. That's the word I was looking for, matter of fact. So when we're doing this, um, so yeah, so that's kind of what I have on that. So you want them, I'd rather have your child have a mishap than them withholding. So to me, mishaps are a good thing. You want them to have them. They're just a natural process during the transition period. Often it doesn't, I do hear for families, it doesn't happen, which is great, but be prepared for them. That's just be ready. All right. So addressing some challenges. All right. So often parents are coming to me that the child's withholding or constipated. So one, diet is huge. If you need information, I do have a holistic pediatric nutritionist that I work with that I can happy connect you with. But if children are constipated, it's going to hurt. And then that they're scared and they don't want to, and then anxiety and all these things happen. But one thing that we can do, just if children are not withholding and they have normal bowels, and they're having bowels every single day, and often when your child's going to have them, they're pretty consistent usually. And especially if you know that your child's consistent, I'm also happy to share some charts with you guys that you could use to help keep track. As often as we try to tell ourselves, oh, I remember this, I'm going to remember when they've gone or that they went or how often they went. You don't. It's at the end of the day, you just truly don't. So you could easily have a quick, easy chart. I have a weekly chart that you can mark it down, and then I like to save them, and then you could see if there's any kind of patterns. I keep them like long period, like a month at a time, maybe. I keep them and trying to see the patterns. Okay, when are they going? What's happening? I try to make notes in these charts, kind of say, okay, they ate this, and if their bowels are different or something like that. So you can make notes and kind of see those different changes. Um, so to help a child poo, so often I get told that my child is pee trained and not poo trained. So the whole goal of this is we're just making this a part and starting this early and make this a part of their day to day. Hopefully they won't have any of these setbacks. But in general, to make it fun, you could add different tools. Like I mentioned earlier, a pinwheel. You could use a balloon. You could use bubbles. You could use, I often like to use like a straw. You could use a straw and they could blow and they could feel the blowing on their leg. You could even, kids love making bubbles in water, right? So you could easily have like a plastic cup with a straw, ideally a lid so it doesn't go all over the place, and have them make bubbles. The act of blowing uses the same muscles that they need for pushing. So, so we want to make note of that. And then I already mentioned about nighttime. And then again, when you're out and about, you want to show, show them where the bathroom is. I like to use the Target, for example. No matter what Target you go to, there's always a bathroom. They're always in the same spot by the doors. And you could like even pretend that you need to go to the bathroom, or like, oh, I need to go to the bathroom. Let's go. And they have the family bathrooms and everything. You can show them. Role modeling is key. You want to show them, you want to do it with them. You could sit in the potty on the toilet. They could sit in the potty. You could pretend they're pushing, over exaggerate things. Talk about the sound, right? When you're peeing and showing them that you're going, talk about, oh, it's really loud. Oh, it's coming out really fast. You want to give them like a sensory thing for them to listen to, for them to do, and have an aim for them to do. So letting them know, we pee in the potty, we pee in the toilet. And then they could talk about that. You could use that. You also want to talk about the pressure, the feeling of what you feel when you know that you need to go. So that's really important too, right? In my book, I talk in there of the character, and the character is Sam, and Sam feels the feelings by the belly button. I also do book readings with my clients, with the kids, and I read my book to them. And so I'm making sure I'm talking them what the feeling is. Make it fun. Oh, where's your belly button? And they love pulling up the shirt, showing their belly button, and kind of just going through all the steps with them. Okay, so, all right. we're towards our end. I want to make sure I have enough room for questions if anyone has questions. So it's really important, as I mentioned from the very beginning, consistency is key. We want to prepare the environment for success. We want to encourage confidence and independence. We want the child to create ownership of the process. Us as the adults, we want to stay calm and supportive. And we never want to revert back to diapers once we do transition to underwear. All right. Thank you, Turin, for jumping on the call. Really appreciate that. All right. So do I have any questions from anyone else? Oh, and then I also wanted to add this. I want to say thank you. And if you do have any questions, please get in touch with me. You can email me at hello@bambinimethod.com. I or my team will get back to you. Also have my website. Also, just so you guys know, I am in the process of redoing my website. So that will be coming up very soon. And then we are opening up a Facebook group. So would love for you guys to join in. We are creating it's called the Bambini Academy, and we're a place for everybody to come in. And I called it Toilet Learning Village because it truly takes a village for us to raise a child. And I really want the families to come in and help. And people have different tricks and suggestions and what they did and what they tried. And that at the same time, I'm going to have other experts in there, like the holistic nutritionist, different specialists in there to help and support wherever people are having difficulty. And then also message me if you guys are interested in purchasing my book. So that's all I got for you guys.
Thank you so much. That was really wonderful. I wish I had that like 4 years ago. But I'll be sure to we'll post this on our YouTube channel and send out your information to everybody that registered. And thank you, Carol. Thank you, Kay. We really appreciate your time and your expertise. And we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.